you never died and everybody you knew was always alive? What if you could never feel sadness and you could never feel pain? What if you could be 10 feet tall, 1 foot tall, green, purple, orange, or blue? Or you could live your life as a household vacuum cleaner. And then what if I told you, you could actually do these things? Transhumanism is a school of philosophy by using technology to modify the way humans exist fundamentally. It goes back to antiquity. Things such as glasses, shoes, or helmets count as technology that we use to modify our bodies. It exists today in the modern world in places you might not expect it, like the backs of churches, in people's basements, or in the bedrooms. Things usually reserved for scientists or professionals, like genetic modifications or engineering prosthesis for humans, are being done by amateurs around the world. And they call themselves biohackers or transhumanists. Biohacker is just a word that means applying the hacker ethic to biology. And some current modification technologies that we use right now, for example, starting out more in the physical sense of what we do to our bodies to augment them. And these are more avant-garde, non-traditional things that happen generally not in public view and not under a doctor's watch. So people do these for themselves, by themselves or with friends. I'm sure a lot of you have read about prosthetics in the news, about how they're becoming more commonplace and more advanced, and how people who have lost limbs due to war, or violence, or illness can get new limbs to replace the ones that they lost. Sometimes in violent accidents, either through sparring accidents or putting your hand in a tractor or something. You can get a new hand that's robotic. And right now, they're not very advanced and they're very limited in terms of battery and dexterity as well as strength. But eventually, soon, we're going to have arms that are actually better than the ones we come with. So instead of keeping the arms that the manufacturer gave you, why not just cut them off and put on a new one? One that's stronger, faster, more reliable than the one you have right now. And at what point do we say, is that okay, is that not okay? Can I cut off my hand and put on a new one if I want to be a better piano player? And is that okay? And will it be covered by health insurance or voluntary? Another one is magnetic implants for fingers. And I'm sure a lot of you played with like buckyballs, those neodymium magnets you can get. They're very strong and powerful. So what some people do is they cut open their fingers, they take a magnet and shove it in there. And it's kind of cool, although you can't use anesthesia because that's for doctors only, so you gotta use a body virus, they just shove it in there with anesthesia. And it hurts a lot, but people still do it. And what lets you do, lets you feel electromagnetic waves in the air around you. So you can walk up to your toaster oven, your microwave, or fluorescent light, put your finger into it, and then start feeling the energy going through it. So you could conceivably feel your computer working as you're working on it. And the fact it adds a sixth sense to your body to augment the five ones that you already have naturally. It gives you the sense of electromagnetism, to feel a world that's invisible to everybody else but you. And people right now can walk around cities and they can feel underground power lines, they can feel telephone boxes, they can go around and feel streetlights and all that. It opens up this entirely invisible world to somebody who could not see before. And those are cool things like hold up things with your finger. Well, you can crush your finger and then we'll screw things up, but it's a technology in its infancy. I'm sure a lot of you heard about cochlear implants for people who are deaf or otherwise hard of hearing. That's another way to modify our bodies. And you can go even beyond this and get rid of your existing eardrums and put in ones that are artificial. So say you want to hear better, say you're a musician and you want to hear pitch perfect music all the time, or you're a military person and you want to hear people really far away. You can have implanted ears to hear better. And again, is that ethical? How much does that cost? Again, will it be covered by a voluntary? Or getting a new hardware. So like upgrading an old car, you just put a new engine in your body. You take out the one you had and put in a more turbocharged going fuel injection. Could you have a hardware response dynamically so when you need it more and when you need it less, and one that never ever breaks down and one that never gets clogged? Or better eye. look at the ones you have, but the new ones are robotic. Red lasers you can see really far away, you can see infrared, ultraviolet, all that sort of stuff. And if you want to just replace them, put new ones in, or get a better model, or upgrade it. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and go to more of the mental aspect, which is inevitably a little bit more controversial and a little bit more concerning ethical applications. First technology I want to talk about is transcranial direct current stimulation. It's a big word. What it means is just taking a battery and putting it across your head. And that's all you do. It's about a century old. And we use it today to treat depression, mental illness, strokes, things like that. And it's still in its infancy despite being very old. It works by taking a small electrical current and directing it across certain portions of your brain. And what this does is it makes certain parts of your brain more susceptible to be excited by neuronal activity. So depending on where you put it, you can make yourself more artistic, more mathematically inclined, better logical reasoning, better artistic ability, better speaking. And this is currently something you can build for around $20. Just 9-volt battery. Don't actually do this though. Please don't do this. You need to know what you're doing to build it very specifically, but it can be used both medical and as well as hobbyist activities. And a new version of that is transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is actually marketed under Neurostar treatment for depression currently. You can find panels of it in psychiatrist offices or doctor's offices. And it's like a 20-minute session where you go and you sit down, they give some things and a little bit of hot spot forms in your head, and you feel a little bit better afterwards. So it's treating depression with electromagnetism by wirelessly introducing and exciting the neurons in your brain so you can fire more. So you can look at it as a theoretical smart cat. So if you go in for a test, put this on, sit down, and suddenly you're 10 times better at math. And for that calculus test, you sit down and you're so much better at it. Click a button and you're better at drawing stuff. You can click a button and go on Jeopardy and answer all the questions right because your memory is so good. And again, this opens up ethical implications. Is this okay to do? Yeah. If somebody could buy a better one, does that make them a better person? Can they go to the contest and win with this thinking cap? Is that okay? And then there's drugs. Drugs are cool. They do lots of cool things. We take a lot of them. I'm sure a lot of you take drugs. I'm sure your doctor gives them to you. Like you take pills in the morning. Some people take Adderall or Prozac. Adderall specifically is very interesting because it's a stimulant and it's used commonly to treat ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I take something like that, and it's great because I don't like look squirrels anymore. But it can be used by people without ADHD to abuse or use it without a doctor's permission to make them think faster, have more energy, have quicker reflexes, better cognitive abilities in general. And that's actually, that's your program, brains on drug. Dare and all that. And that was used during a lot of wars as well. Like in World War II, soldiers were amped up on amphetamines, both American, Japanese, German, all that. And today we still use them as go pills. So people in the military who fly planes a lot, they take go pills, which make them go or no go. So say you're tired for a mission, you take a pill, you feel better, you can sleep, you can go without sleep for about 4 days, and you come back to base and you crash. And there's ways they can do this without side effects, like modafinil. You can take and you can go without sleep for about 3 or 4 days, and there's no side effects. Again, that is not covered by long-term, not that fact. And we're kind of trained as a society, especially in America, to think that drugs are bad, the whole war on drugs thing. That's a whole separate TED talk, but people tell their children that don't do addicting drugs, don't do weed, don't do that, but then how many of those people go to work and drink 5 cups of coffee, stay awake the whole day just to satisfy that need for caffeine, that craving? So it's a very big gray line, I guess, in effect. And when does it become okay to take drugs? When does it become not okay? If you're depressed, is it okay to take antidepressants? And if you're not depressed, you just want to be happy, it's okay to take super antidepressants to make you not happy. So a literal happy pill, would it be okay to take that? This is actual propaganda from World War II, I think. Things from the Americans. So you can see it was and still is in use by a lot of militaries, I think most militaries actually. Prozac, again, very commonly prescribed, usually for mood disorders or anxiety or for depression. So you got to think about these drugs, these pills. Is it okay for us to modify the way we think if the doctor doesn't say we should? So if you want to be happy all the time, is it okay to take a pill that makes you happy all the time? And if you don't want to feel pain, is it okay to not feel pain? And can you afford these, can you not afford these? Who can afford them? Who should not afford them? And these kind of, what I'm talking about is transhumanism or human evolution. You can very much split into two different ways. You can go for the utopia future where everything's good, everybody's happy, nobody feels pain, everybody loves each other. You can be life between if you want to be. You can turn your body into whatever you want it to be. Or it can go very badly, and we could have augmented people ruling over the planet, doing lots of mean things like suppressing humanity or having a mass slave control population with chips in their brains telling them what to do. And this kind of sounds kind of far out there, but it's not really that far, honestly. We already have technology that can put people and make them submissive, but like I said, the transparent vector simulation stuff, you can induce submissiveness wirelessly to somebody's brain. You can make them feel happy, make them feel sad. You can also wipe out memories as well. And technology is in its infancy, but still eventually will become to the part where it becomes a problem that we need to deal with ethically. So looking at the larger solution of it, the larger view of it, it's something that we kind of have to deal with real soon, and it's getting more complicated and a lot more apparent. You're going to read about this on the news as it becomes more and more of a phenomenon, people changing their bodies and modifying their minds. And I would encourage you, when you do walk away from this talk, to kind of not be afraid or be encouraged about it, but to be really curious about it. So I'm kind of hoping that I raised a lot of questions about it. I didn't really answer a few questions, I guess, but then you kind of just be aware of it as we go forward.